Welcome into the Bills Chat halftime show. The Bills trailing the Houston Texans by a score of 17-3. And, this is one of those days, folks. We have to remind ourselves it does us no good to get really mad over something that we have no control over. And I'm struggling with that myself because this has been a frustrating half of football. The Bills come out and they look really strong to start the game. There's a couple of James Cook runs, go for 7, go for 8. And it looks like, some of these injuries the Texans have in the middle of their defense are really going to help the Bills. They're going to run the ball. And what we have seen, I agree 100%, Caitlin, since that point has been when they try to pass, nobody's getting open. When Josh Allen makes good throws, they're not catching the ball. I don't know if the throw to Mac Hollins was a bad throw or a bad ball tracking by Hollins. On first watch, it looked like it was a bad throw by Allen, maybe just missed him by about a step. But then when you watch the replay, it looks like Hollins' tracking left a lot to be desired. We'll have to wait for all 22 to come out. But you had the sideline pass to Dalton Kincaid. We're all screaming, challenge it, challenge it. I don't think they would have won the challenge, quite honestly. I think that's why they have the former referee in their booth. Dalton Kincaid has to make that catch clean. And then on the next drive, they get the ball back and a first down completion when you're just trying to get something going positive right off of Kincaid's hands. It's time for Dalton Kincaid to become this superstar that we've been hearing about him being for the last 2 years. At some point, you're no longer a future star. It's time to be. And he's not that yet. This is not fun. I agree with you, Senior Onion. Probably a little bit of both. Yeah, I don't know how we won 3 games. Well, I think what we're seeing right now is, and this might also be to Kristen's point about Brady being annoying. I think the first few games of the season, a lot of it is teams trying to figure out each other. And I think teams were playing the Bills defensively like they did the previous Bills. We're going to let them, if they want to run, great. We're going to try to stop the pass. And what we're seeing now in the Ravens game and a lot today is they are daring the Bills to throw it on them. They are stacking the box. There's a lot of single high looks. They're daring the Bills to beat single coverage. And quite frankly, they can't. And then when they're open, they're not completing the play. The Mac Hollins double move should have been a touchdown. The Texans hit their double. That wasn't a double move. He just had Cole Bishop out of the play where he was supposed to be. And then you get Nico Collins for a touchdown. I also kind of want to vent about the fact that I know we feel, I think it was the McChronicle. Yes, McChronicle, one of my favorites, said, you can't use injuries as an excuse for this. You absolutely cannot use injuries as an excuse. Absolutely. The Texans are missing their starting right tackle. Their middle linebacker is playing through an illness. Their best wide receiver went down on the second drive after a touchdown with a hamstring injury and hasn't come back. And their safety's been out twice. Both teams are dealing with injuries, and they're also missing their top 2 running backs. So both teams are up against it right now. Kristen's point, where is Samuel? Kristen, I have no idea. Samuel's making $7 million a year APY. And in a situation where Khalil Shakir's out, you need somebody to step in. You think it's seamless. It seems like they only know how to use him on bubble screens and handoffs and trick plays. What in the world did you invest this money in Curtis Samuel for if you didn't have a plan for him that was outside of gadget plays and eye candy? He's a good receiver. I was never over the moon about the Curtis Samuel signing. But when you talk about a guy that can fill out your depth chart and you know Khalil Shakir is going to miss this game, you felt pretty good about the fact that Curtis Samuel was here. And they just either have no idea how to use him or the turf toe injury is worse than we thought and it's lingering. There's going to be a lot of this week. Trade for Devontae Adams ASAP. I hear that. I will also tell you, this is bad because I like Khalil Shakir. I think Khalil Shakir is becoming a very solid weapon for the Bills. I think he's clearly their most consistent wide receiver, and they miss him a lot today. Khalil Shakir being gone should not completely tank an offense. And I think that says a lot about the rest of the weapons. And this is really, really tough. Caitlin's point, I didn't expect a Super Bowl this year, but 2 weeks in a row looking like this, that's scary. And to your point, Caitlin, this is when the Bills stepped up in weight class. I mean, I still think the Miami win was a good win. I know it looks laughable now, but they faced Tua for the majority of that game, and the Bills just kind of own the Dolphins. So maybe that's understandable too, but the Jaguars are terrible. We now know that. And the Cardinals, they look good against the Bills, but they've kind of shown us that they kind of are who we thought they were. And these last 2 weeks against the Ravens and now the Texans through 6 quarters have not even been competitive. I mean, it feels like the Bills are lucky to only be down 2 touchdowns going into the third quarter. So, I still feel like, as weird as it sounds, I still feel like this Texans defense is a defense the Bills should be able to take advantage of in the second half. But, is there going to be enough time? This defense is putting guys from other teams' practice squads last week out there on the field because that's how down they are on bodies. A couple positives. Dwayne Carter is playing very well. Benford continues to play very well. How do they even adjust after halftime? Nothing is clicking. Defensively, what I would do if I were the Bills is I would continue to be okay with them running the ball on us. I mean, at some point, if it gets down to like a fourth quarter situation, they try to run the clock out, then you have to more so stack the box. And I also want to say, I'm very curious about Nico Collins. If he doesn't come back, then their passing game does become a lot less scary. But I don't want to see the Bills get into a situation where they stack the box and then they're giving up deep passes to Tank Dell and Diggs. I don't think that's productive. As far as offense goes, Mel, that's a great question because I feel like the Bills are able to run the ball at times, but they're not able to stick with it because it's either an incomplete pass or a sack that puts them in second and long or third and long, and then they can't run. I would come out and try to be patient with the run game. I don't need it to always be Alec Anderson coming on as tackle eligible when everybody in the stadium knows you're going to run. Can we run out of shotgun? Can we run out of wide sets? That would be fantastic. And, I think you're going to have to pepper Kincaid with targets. I know I just beat up on him a little bit early in this show, but he really is the most consistent weapon the Bills have. Where's Dawson Knox? Where is Dawson Knox? It was like 2 years ago that Dawson Knox was a good tight end. And, he was never Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews or those guys, but he always felt like somebody that a really good athlete that Josh Allen had good rapport with. And it's just like he doesn't even play for this team anymore. I understand he's their dirty work blocking tight end, but my goodness, on a day where the Bills are featuring Mac Hollins in their passing game, how does Dawson Knox not get a target? Or maybe he has one and I'm forgetting it, but it feels like there should be more answers here than the Bills currently have. And this is either a fantastic defensive game plan by the Texans or just a really, really unfortunate couple of weeks here by Joe Brady. We need to come out strong. Absolutely. The Texans get the ball to start the half. The Bills need to find a way to keep them from getting points on that drive. Being down by 3 possessions in this game feels like a bridge too far for these Bills. Josh Allen is on track for his worst season since 2018. It's unconscionable from McDermott. I don't have the stats in front of me. It would very much surprise me if he was tracking worse than 2019, because 2019, he was still kind of game manager. He did win Player of the Month award for September. So this is not a good look, though. I don't think Josh Allen has been bad. He definitely looks like he's not trusting what's around him, though. He's been hesitant to run the ball in several situations where the lanes were there. And every time now he makes an incredible throw and the receivers drop it, it's going to only make it worse. They need to have a drive where everything clicks and they get a touchdown to kind of feel like themselves again. And I do think that if they get comfortable in this game, they're going to be able to put up points on this Texans defense. But it's just a matter of, is it too little too late at this point in time? Nathan says nobody eats. That's the way it feels right now, Nathan. Like I said on other shows, this is Roy Collins, one of our favorites. The Bills just don't have good enough offensive weapons. I think that's a reality the Bills are faced with right now. We like James Cook. We love Josh Allen. We think we like Dalton Kincaid, and we like Khalil Shakir, who's not healthy. Keon Coleman has shown some things, but he's a rookie playing in his 5th game. And we thought we were going to get something out of Curtis Samuel, and we've gotten nothing. We've gotten less than nothing. He actually had negative yards in this game. And the only time they've even bothered to draw something up for him has been 2 plays where they throw it to him behind the line of scrimmage. It's infuriating, the lack of a plan for Curtis Samuel when you hear he's a guy that Joe Brady pounded the table for. Deep shot to MVS on 1st and 10. Hey, why not? At this point in time, maybe you get a pass interference call. Earth to Kincaid, Knox, Cook, Samuel, Allen. Someone needs to step up or we're cooked. Absolutely, Henry. Somebody's got to step up and start making these plays. You saw Kincaid with a couple of drops in the first half. This is a guy that never dropped the ball in college. This has to be a Kincaid offense while Shakir's out and while Keon Coleman is still developing. Your hope is that as the season goes on, Keon Coleman continues to get better and better. But right now, what's happening is they trust Mac Hollins more than they trust Curtis Samuel. And Mac Hollins was never supposed to be more than a special teamer and a guy that could back up at wide receiver. In my mind, I'm stunned that he is featured in this offense. I know he kind of has taken over that Gabe Davis role where he does a lot of wind sprint running and he's not necessarily a target in the passing game. But even today, they're moving Mac Hollins around, getting him the ball, throwing him on third down. And Curtis Samuel is just basically a fancy decoy. What are we doing? It doesn't make sense. Wouldn't want to be in the locker room right now. And what's interesting about that is they came out with a lot of attitude, particularly on the defensive side. You saw guys like Dwayne Carter and Daquan Jones and Terrell Bernard, my goodness, on that fourth down play when it looked like he was just fed up with everything when he made that stop. The defense has brought some juice. The offense has not matched it. And a lot of times on offense, juice comes from execution. And, it's hard to stay hyped when you're not getting the job done. And right now, this worn down Texans defense that's not great to begin with is making the Bills look like the drought Bills. And that's very unfortunate. The one thing I will tell you all is the same thing I said last week. It is October 6th. Okay. I'm not, if you guys follow Bills Chat, first of all, thank you. We appreciate the hell out of you. We are not a homer show. Okay. We root for the Bills. We love the Bills. Clearly, I love the Bills. But we tell you how we feel. So I hope when I say this, it doesn't come off like a homer. This is a Bills team that has made the playoffs under Sean McDermott every year since 2019, and they've won a playoff game, at least one playoff game every year since 2020. So this is a team that knows how to right the ship. This is a team that you expect to make the playoffs, particularly with as bad as the AFC East looks. And as bad as today looks, as bad as the Ravens game looked, we all have to keep in mind that this is a team that's missing a bunch of key players right now. Khalil Shakir, now you can add that to the mix. Ed Oliver, you can add that to the mix. Von Miller, you can add to the mix. These players are all coming back along with Milano, along with Taron Johnson, along with Taylor Rapp. This is not the Bills that we hope to get to the playoffs. The last 2 years, we've seen the Bills lose playoff games. I don't want to make excuses, but one of the biggest reasons that they didn't look like themselves in the playoffs is they got there with about half of a roster. So it stinks to lose a game today. It's not going to sink their battleship if they do it, though. The ultimate goal has to be to get these guys healthy, get them back healthy as soon as possible. Don't rush them back and then hope that the season is still on the rails, which it will be because nobody in the AFC East is really doing anything besides the Bills, and the Jets lost already today. So we are going to give our friend Caitlin the last word here. It's early, but still, let's get back out there and win. Go Bills. If anyone can do it, it's Josh. I agree, Caitlin. There's a weird part of me that's still slightly optimistic. I think that there is going to be some hay to make in the passing game for the Bills. Josh Allen, 6 for 18 for 56 yards right now. I'm seeing on my box score that the second half has started. Go Bills. I do want to address this one thing real quick, though. Rasul Douglas downfall. That touchdown was not on Rasul Douglas. That was on Cole Bishop. He's expecting safety help in the middle. So he's keeping the outside, and in that situation, he's not expected to guard Nico one-on-one. He's expected to take away the outside. But when Cole Bishop bites up, they throw the post or the seam or whatever. And that's a very tough matchup on any cornerback in that situation. Go Bills, find a way to get this done. And hopefully we're talking about one of the more fun Bills comeback victories. Or if not, we're talking about a 3-2 Bills team that has a very important game next week against the New York Jets. I am Josh McCarty. Luca and I will be back for post game that will upload tomorrow everywhere your podcast can be found, including YouTube. And I will talk to you guys next week on the Bills Chat Halftime Show.